Welcome back to another exciting episode of Level Up and Live. You're tuned in to another episode of your favorite podcast where we unpack the secrets of living your best life. I'm your host, Sean Meyers, and with me as always, the man with the plan, the co-captain of this journey, Ewan Heinemeier. Today, we have not one, but two extraordinary individuals who are breaking through the barriers of the everyday grind. Please give us a warm welcome to our special guest, Christian and Donald. In this episode, we're diving deep into the obstacles and struggles of everyday life when you're just existing. But rest assured, because Donald and Christian are here to share their stories and tell us what they're doing to level up and live. Now, without further ado, let's jump into the conversation and discover the keys to leveling up and truly living. See you on the inside. Level up and live, baby. Today is a very exciting episode. We're super excited to have our guests, Donald Williams and Christian Swearingen, with our co-host, Ewan Heinemeier. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hello.
Howdy.
Good morning.
How are y'all doing today?
Doing amazing. Excited to be here.
Fantastic, man. Still working on my first big cup of coffee. I'm ready to go.
How are you really feeling, guys?
It is Tuesday. It is cold. I like 85-degree weather, and I have been trying to not die for the past week and a half with this flu. So, but
a lot of people
it's great to be here.
That's the real answer.
Donald's been sick for the last flu, bronchitis, all the above, and you still showed up today. That's saying something.
Got to be here. You got to show
awesome. Up. We're super excited to have it. Today's going to be super impactful, so we're definitely excited to dive in. So, Donald, we're going to start with you, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Right.
Who are you? Who is Donald Williams?
I am Batman. No, Donald Williams. Man, so I've born and raised in Houston, moved out to Conroe shortly before we got married in 2016, and love it out here. Don't ever plan on leaving the area, except for traveling. But yeah, I grew up with my sisters and my mom, and learned a lot. But over the years, have just grown to really get to know you, Sean, over the last 5+ years working with you, and just really appreciate the input and wow, the journey we've been on. So yeah, I would say I am a guy that loves my family, loves God, and just loves the community around me.
Beautiful. And Donald's being super humble. Donald has been one of, and I still say this to this day, I consider Donald a younger brother. He has just been one of those guys out of a million people that have come into my life that has just leveled up in all areas of life. So I can't wait for you to share your story. I know you're being super humble and grounded right now, but thanks for sharing, man. Appreciate it. Christian, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. Where did you come from? How did we meet? Who is the Christian Swearingen?
Hey, Sean. Well, I was born in Plano, born and raised into a Dallas Cowboy family. So I'm a cowboy at heart. No. I moved to New Mexico when I was about 10. My dad moved me out there. So I spent a lot of time out in New Mexico in different parts. So I got accustomed to the mountains and the cool weather and kind of the smaller town life. I went to high school there and graduated high school there and went to college over there. We moved here back to the Conroe area in 2018. Me, my wife, and my two kids. My sister already lived here in the Woodlands. She said, y'all need to come out here and get a better life going for yourself. I don't know if y'all know, but New Mexico is bottom barrel of education. Income levels are low. It's a great place to live if you have a lot of money or if you're retired. But if you're wanting to grow and raise a family, honestly, there's better places to be. So we got out here. I got a job, had a couple of jobs, got laid off during COVID. I've always had my first job when I moved here was just at a Chewy's, waiting tables, make some money. Had a sales job for an oil company, got laid off. Eventually, Sean approached me one day at lunch and offered me a job in sales at the insurance agency, and I was super excited, super scared and nervous, and all the emotions. And I said, you know what? Let's just do it. let's do it. What can I lose? And here I am, 18 months later, and it's been quite the ride.
How old are your kids, Christian?
I have My son Landon is 9. He'll be 10 next month. Stella is 6. And I have a 2.5-month-old little boy named Ethan.
Wow.
So I'm a busy dude.
Cool. Man, that 2.5-year-old, you're almost in the clear. Once they hit 3.5, it gets a little bit.
2.5 months. 2.5 months.
Oh, never mind then. You got a long way to go.
I'm just getting going, my friend.
You got my prayer. I would say let's just end it with that. No, I'm just kidding. That's a beautiful place.
Yeah. When I approached Christian at Chewy's, I immediately knew that this guy was special and I wanted to work with this guy. And so this was 18 months ago, Christian?
When you say special, Sean, what made you say that? What was it about Christian?
It was everything from his presence and the way he made me feel. And I think I shared this with Christian initially. It was the experience that he, from the moment you could tell, because I've been doing what I'm doing for several years. So I read people's tone, body language, and I watch people. And I knew Christian was the guy that put in the work behind the scenes. I knew he wanted a better life just like I did. I knew he wanted to work on becoming the best version of himself. And again, this is how I talk to myself, right? And I knew he wanted better for not only himself, but for his family. And so, and it was just a gut, it was an instinct. And so that's what allowed me to have courage to ask Christian, hey, would you be open to new opportunities? And that's when we exchanged contact information. But Christian was polite. The experience that he provided me and my wife was fantastic, And Christian, I'll have to talk to you about this, but it took you about 10 seconds to refill my Diet Coke, man. So at Chewy's, a little unacceptable. No, I'm just kidding. But no, Christian, from smiling and serving and impacting, you could just tell he checked the boxes on a lot of these things as far as serving and impacting and wanting a better future. And when we talked, I think you followed up with me a month later after me reaching out to you via text message. And I told you, hey, check us out. If you want to be a part of, something special behind the scenes, then we'd love to have you on board. I think you reached back out to me. And that's when, and we talked on the phone. I said, hey, this is what it is and this is what it's not. And let me tell you something, Ewan. This young man right here, we could probably sit here for the next 6 hours and he could just pour out the struggles, the obstacles, the challenge, the ugly, the good, the bad, and all the above, right? And this man still continues to show up every single day, stare it down, be intentional about doing the things that he's doing in his life for his family, for his kids, and working 2 jobs, flourishing in an insurance career. And man, I tell you what, that is an inspiration to me. And that is, like I've always told you, I will always continue to show up. You put 1 foot, I'll put 2 feet, and we'll get you to where you need to go. I don't care if it takes 10 years, 15 years. We might need to cut that in half, right? Because you got that new kid in the mix.
You just made me want to shout America. I don't know. America. I mean that, man. I just wanted to shout America. Like I'm from Scotland, and when I hear that, it's just awesome because that is the American dream. It's the opportunity that you get so many places in the world where you could still have that mentality and you just don't have the opportunity there. But with that mentality matched up with the opportunity here, there's literally nothing that can stop you except for yourself. So man, I love to hear that. So cool.
And on top of that, Christian's been doing all of this in one of the historically toughest insurance markets we've seen. So on top of all of that, he picked the worst time in the market to come in, and he's still staying on top of everything.
And Donald, to toot your horn too. I remember, we've met a number of times, but we don't know each other well. But I remember asking Sean, like, what was the potential for someone in your position to make X amount of dollars in that position, and he said, it's not possible to make this amount of money. And I was like, okay, good to know. I don't know where it just came up in conversation. And then he dropped a few weeks back or a month ago or so at the mastermind group that you surpassed that number. It was a big number, man. So congratulations to you, man. Whatever
Thank you.
You're doing, I mean, you've got something special going on too, man. So we got two rock stars on here. To ask real quick, how old are you, Christian and Donald? How old are you guys?
I'm 39.
39. Okay.
I am I don't know. I'm 32. I had to think about it for a second.
Awesome, man. Yeah, great. Okay, well, very cool, man. And big part of what we're doing today is, me and Sean have discussed and we've sat down and we put this little mini course together, and we wanted to just get some feedback, and we thought we'd record it so people out there can hear your experience, and hopefully they get something from it so they can, it will be in the show notes. It's just a download. We'll send it to your email, and you get to work through it. And the whole premise of it is those things that are in there, those are the things that me and Sean have used to have success in our lives, right? Like there's all the things we just discussed. There's certain things, if you do them consistently over and over, it changes you as a person, changes your mindset, and that is everything. Mindset is everything. The how-to part, like the steps, I could give them to someone all day long, and it means nothing if the mindset's not there. So that's really what we want to hone in on, and how can we get people from a place where they are now to an elevated place, to level up, stare down their emotions, which are fear. It feels like a dragon, a demon, and it stops you from moving forward. It stops you in your tracks. You get paralyzed, and you end up slinking back and just fading away, existing and not living. And not, when we were just talking about this on our run this morning, when you have results that you didn't ask for, that's existing. And that's not living intentionally, and you can't level up in that realm, right? So you got to get intentional. You have to stare down the things you don't want to look at, and then only then can you move the needle. So really what we're talking about today is basically that on paper. We just want to get your feedback, your experience. And Sean, did you want to add anything onto that?
Yeah. So, and I know you guys have several stories to share. Donald, knowing you over 5 years now, I know you've got several stories that you can share, milestones and achievements, the good, the bad, the uglies. Same thing with you, Christian. So Donald, we'll start with you. When you first joined me, 5, 6, 7, 6 years now that we've known each other?
Known each other 6. It's been about 5.5 that I've been here at the agency now.
Wow. Time flies, man.
Oh, yeah. Time flies when you're having fun. The saying's true.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, the stories I could share with our morning meetings at 8 o'clock.
Sean trying to just feed into my life with pouring out his heart, all he's got, and I'm sitting there, one eye open, yawning. He's like, yeah, Sean, yeah.
So with
result, now you're. It got to you. He got to you, man.
Yep.
You leveled up around.
I was listening. My face might not have shown it, but I was listening.
So I want to take it back there, Donald. When you initially met me, I had made a marketing post. I had posted it in our community.
Yes.
And we didn't know each other at the time. We lived in the same community, I believe.
Yeah, just a street apart.
Street apart, come to find out. And you had emailed me, and he emailed me this email that really kind of touched some chords. It was basically everything that, that we would want to hear with working with somebody that you would want to bring into a team. Kind of rung all the if ChatGPT was a real thing six years ago, I feel like you would have used that and put your own spin to it. And so when you reached out to me, I knew it was, again, another one of those gut instincts. I was like, man, all the time, energy, and effort that I've put into trying to hire somebody, right? Because you have to go through several trial and error and failure and stepping stones and finding that right individual. And, I had to grow as a human being, as a boss, as a leader. And I'm still not perfect to this day. But when you reached out to me, I knew automatically. I was like, I want to know more about this guy. And so we set up a phone call. We talked. And I want you to take us through the moment you picked up that phone, the moment you heard us, or we talked. I said, hey, this is what it is. This is what it isn't. Tell us what you were doing for a career at that point. And then take us through that transition on starting in that first 90 days and what that felt like, what that looked like, what that smelled like. Take us through it.
Yeah. Well, man, so after that initial phone call, finding out everything, it was there was definitely there's that initial wave of excitement, and then that huge, massive tsunami of fear and of doubt and of, is this for me? Is this something I can do? I was working at the bank. I was a banker. So, big national bank, you got a 401k, you got a healthcare plan, you got an HSA, all that fun stuff. You get your 2 weeks of PTO each year and everything gets set. You know what's happening. You know what's coming. Then insurance, it's like I said, it's a different animal. So it's like, man, like this is going to be a complete 180 in life. Like, your word, Sean, you eat what you kill.
Yeah.
So it's a lot different. And then instantly mine's like, okay, man, like if I don't do good, like I'm not going to have a check. Or, hey, like if I'm at the bank, I know I'll be able to make that mortgage payment. I'll make my bills, and then we'll have a little bit left over. That's what it was. I've got $100 to spend until the next check, kind of thing. But it wasn't great, but it was safe. It was something I knew. I could count on it. Then with insurance, like once I talked to you, those doubts, like, man, like you start plugging in numbers. Okay, I got to sell this many to do this much, and this much to do this much, and it's just the doubt of, can I do that? So a lot of that started just flooding my mind, and it was really like, man, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if this is what I want to do. I don't know if I can put my family in that situation, because what happens if I don't? There's a lot of the what happens if I don't conversation in my head.
And this was all after we talked, before you decided to make the leap.
Yes. So there was a lot of that. And then thank God for an amazing wife, an amazing support system. Because that's where I really started to get those, well, what if I don't moments turning into, well, what if you do? What if you do well? What if you do this? What if, this grows to what, Sean's experience, what Sean's talked about, what Sean showed. And it's really helped. It helped change those limiting beliefs, help change those, take away some of that fear. And so
what's so cool to hear that is, so you've gone through some difficult moments already, right? You're 32. That was a decision you had to make, and really it was a stare it down moment, and it got you into this really good situation, and you've had success where you're at. And then so when we're talking about this little 4-day mini course that you guys just did, right? How do you? So you've already leveled up. That's for a lot of people, that's kind of the big move, and you're not really looking to make another big move, perhaps. So when you're looking at this mini course, what is next then for you, right? What are you working on now, right? Because a lot of people think, when I get the job, I'm making a lot of money, done, happy, mission accomplished. But just, we all know that's not true at all. It's just another mountaintop. There's always something else, right? There's always something there's an area of life you're not moving on. There's still something you're not staring down. You haven't been looking at. So when we're talking about this 4-day mini course, like, what was your expectations when you were coming into this thing to do?
Yeah. So I think my biggest expectation was just to get a better understanding of myself, and what are my wants, because my wants 5 years ago that really helped drive me, those have changed. We've grown, we've accomplished things, we've moved further along in life. So what now?
Mm-hmm.
So that was the biggest thing with the mini course. It's okay. What do I really want? Like what's really going to make me happy?
When was the last time you were asked that? When was the last time you had to stop to think about this? Because this is kind of what we're getting onto. When was the last time anybody says, "What are you on to next?" And would answer like, what do you mean? And if they say, what do you mean? If you people who are listening to this now, you say, well, what do you mean I'm on to next? You are what we're talking to you, right? Because there could be an element of existing, kind of like we mentioned earlier. If there's any results showing up in your life that you didn't ask for, and you don't like the way that they are, you would change it if you had the option A or B, and you would change, then this is what this is about, right? Because I love that you said that you had to stop and think. I even just watching, we're Zencaster right now. I see you look up. When people look up, they have to think. That's them thinking, processing. And that's a moment of clarity that you're beginning to have. So what was that for you? And you had to think, what's next?
Oh, yeah. It was Sean. Sean asked me, but without Sean asking me, it's one of the things that just goes off, out of sight, out of mind.
Yes.
You just drift. It's easy to get, even when you've been through it and you've already accomplished or something, or made a big step, or had a good journey. You get to a point where it just kind of still can become stagnant, or it can still just become a daily routine, just making it through the 9 to 5, making it through the Monday through Friday, and just picking up your head and be like, oh man, another year's gone by.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So so when he asked, what was the expectation then at that point, you had to kind of think about it for a minute. What did you expect to maybe get out of this? Because you probably didn't know what it even was, but you knew Sean was asking you to do something. Once you kind of understood a little bit, what was that expectation?
Yeah. I would say it was just really to get deeper with myself, and to get deeper with myself, and then beyond myself. It's not a beyond, okay, what's my personal goal? What's my box I can check? It grew to, how can I help somebody? How can I help somebody get to their goals, their achievements? And that's, I think, where my why really started coming back in.
Yeah. So you kind of went to, man, I love to hear that. Right. So you had to think about well, a lot of people think, what do I want? What do I get? And you went to, what do I want? I want to help people. Man, that's a big indicator, right? This thing could lead to helping other people. Maybe it's not you. I mean, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect you to say that right now. So that was really cool. A lot of people that do this might be like, man, I found that my expectation of what I want to do next is help people. I'm not doing that. I didn't even realize I want to help people and that I'm not doing it. So this is clarity for that. Christian, what was it for you? What was your expectation?
I expected to kind of just, write down some goals, do a little bit of thinking about myself and how I might be able to improve some areas of my life, or what's going right, what's going wrong. But what I found, if you really stare these questions down and think about it, is that it really forces you to look at some things that are uncomfortable, that people just don't. It's the easy thing to just kind of brush it off, because you can always find some area of your life that things are going pretty good. Maybe you've got a good job, you're making some good money, or I've been working out, I'm feeling pretty good. Or maybe the relationship with your wife or your spouse or your kids is great. There's some area that you can focus on that's probably going pretty good, right? It's those areas of your life that had been haunting you for 10, 15, 20 years. And they're just kind of down deep, because there's other areas of your life that you can look at that say, you know what, that's okay that's going on, because this is going on. So an example of that would be like, maybe on the weekends, I like to, have a few drinks, or have a few extra drinks, or go out and party. And then the next morning I'm going to wake up, I might be a little bit tired. Maybe I'm hungover, but that's all right, because, I'll recover. Monday I'm going back to my nice job. Everything's all good. But if you really stare those things down, and I'm not saying anything, bad about, people who drink or things like that, but whatever that thing is, it impacts the next day, which impacts your life, overall. So there's what this thing does is forces you to kind of stare down some demons, and there's different types of demons for different types of people, but it makes you really dig in and see how those things impact your daily life.
That's powerful, Christian. And I want you to share a story on here recently when we met for Salada, had lunch, and you had opened up, and man, we ended up fisting each other. And I was so proud of you, because one of the things that you have wanting to stare down, level up in, is your health and wellness, right? Your well-being and working out. And you haven't really figured out on exactly what it is that you've tried working out in a group, and you've tried the early mornings and hitting the snooze buttons. So can you share your story with what you tried, as far as working out? Because here you are, this high performer, you're an insurance agent, you have multiple kids, you are working 12, 13, 14-hour days to make things happen. You got a wife, you got all these things going on. It's like, where do I fit this other area of life, this health and wellness? Because I've been neglecting it, right? I haven't stared it down. And now that you're going through and you're working on these things that we've talked about in the mini course, and some of these things, like you've called it, staring it down, the demons. Take us through what you've done here recently, which is something to be proud of, right? And it's a milestone.
Yeah, sure. And it's it's just been a small step, in this crazy journey that I'm on. And that's I think that's the best way to approach it is you can't just take a giant leap and expect all areas of your life to fall into place at once. It's impossible. It's a 100% recipe for failure. You have to focus on one area and then on to the next and then on to the next. So recently, um, the big thing for me was obviously I've been talking to Sean for since I started basically. Man, I really need to get back into shape. He's like, well, here's the blueprint. Here's what you need to do. And I just kept failing. I tried getting up super early at 4 a.m. and joining a workout club super early in the morning. Just wasn't a good fit. I've tried multiple different things. But ultimately the reason I keep failing is not the time I had to get up, or the method in which I'm trying to do it. The reason I keep failing is because my mind did not have it as an absolute priority. That is the recipe for success in whatever the area is that you're trying to improve for. So for me, it's the health and wellness, and I have to put that at the top of my list of priority. So, and that's part of the staring it down. Like, look at myself in the mirror in the morning. Am I happy with what I'm looking at? With what's looking back at me? If the answer is no, okay, then you need to do something about it. So, and that's where you have to start. That's where it starts. You plant that seed of staring at it, and deciding that something needs to change. So I just, recently just started jogging in the morning. Get up in the morning, kids go get on the bus, and I take a quick jog. This is my step, the first step towards improving myself. Nothing crazy, but it's that you just got to start somewhere. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
The expectations were, you said the expectation was, you're going to have to look at something you maybe didn't want to look at, and you did, and you took action on it. This has helped you kind of hone in on what it was you wanted. You started taking action, and so now you're jogging, man. So congratulations. That's really, really awesome. So as far as expectation, you looked at it, you're doing it now. Expectation met, or continue to be met. Like, what is your going forward now that you started? What's the plan to continue?
Well, the plan to continue is that first step snowballs into because we all have that. We all have kind of this ideal, this dream of what our life wants to be, or what we want it to look like, how we want ourselves to look like. And it's, for a lot of us, it's almost like a fantasy because it's so far out from what it looks like today. But when you take that first step, which for me just happens to be just getting up in time to do a jog and start to feel better about myself, that dream that's so far away is a little bit closer. So then I'm like, okay, well, how can I get it one step closer? Like, what can I do next to bring that dream a little bit closer and within reach? So for me, the jogging hopefully can evolve into some getting to the gym or getting some more workouts done, and really putting that as an absolute priority to get myself into the best shape. Because I know, and Sean's told me this for forever, and it's so true. But since your mind and body is connected, you feel so good after that jog. The endorphins are moving through your body. You feel good. Your energy level's high. And that impacts your day. So, and especially since we're in sales, we have to talk to people. We need to have, high energy. That I know that workout has a huge impact on my work week when I'm talking to people and educating them. And I know that that's going to accelerate my journey and make the journey that I'm on quicker, because I'm feeling better. My mind is good. I feel good. It's really hard to sell stuff when you're coming in slow and you're tired and this and that. So I know that what I'm doing now is going to help me in the main area of my life that I'm focused on, which is my finances and providing for my family.
Man, I hope people are hearing what you're saying there, man. It could be so easy for people to listen right now and just be like, "Oh, great story for Christian," or they're not paying the full attention of what you just said, because what you just said is what they would be saying too. If you're hearing this, you could be saying the exact same words that Christian just said, and look at what he's doing, and look at what you're not doing, because he wasn't doing them either, right? And now that he's focused in, honed in on what it is that he's wanting to do, he's started the first domino, and he's out there running. He's already talking about the clarity of mind, and you don't get to talk about that until you've actually experienced it. And you're saying it, I've been saying it, Sean says it, everyone that does it, you get this clarity, and that, man, and then it just linked directly what you said to your finances, right? It's how what you do in one area will impact all other areas of life. So it is so powerful. It's so easy, right? It's simple. I won't say it's easy. It's simple. We all have the knowledge, but taking the action and having accountability or something to help you hone in. Without it, it's so easy to just keep existing. So you've had this tool to help you focus in, and the accountability to get there. And that's awesome to hear. I hope people are hearing that. And Donald, for you, what was you had your expectation. What has it been met? Is it beginning to be met?
Yeah, it's beginning. So there's aspects that have been met, and there's aspects I would say that are still in progress. But it has, so it's given me a lot more clarity for sure. It's helped me be more precise. There's precision in what I'm doing, and what I'm pushing for. And then I would say that's definitely one of the expectations I have was that I wanted to enhance. I wanted to level up this life of mine, just to go from like I said, okay, Monday's done, check. Tuesday's done, check. Because it had gotten into that mode, but it's helped enhance that back to, okay, man, this is what I'm living for. This is how I'm helping people. This is what I can do to help. And that's something, like I said, it's in progress, because it's a big thing to help somebody. So that's one of the things that it's been met, but it's still in progress. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the specifics that you're doing, Don?
So health wise as well, I've over the last month plus now, I've been working on eating better. Christian knows DoorDash would be showing up every couple,
Yep.
at least a couple times a week. Get off work. I was notorious. I would buy all these fruits and vegetables, and I'd be like, all right, this day I'm making this soup. This day I'm making like a roast. I'm going to have grilled turkey for this. And then 5 o'clock hits.
There for lunch.
Yep. 5 o'clock hits. It's like, man, I don't feel like spending the time cooking. So you know what? I'm just going to swing by McDonald's. The next day, the nights I did cook, the next day it's like, well, I just had that. Do I really want to eat those leftovers? No, that green sauce from Casa Ole sounds good.
Wow.
So shifting from that stuff to just doing it. Just, hey, like you've got to cook the food. You've got to eat the food. Don't let it go to waste. Apart from the toll it's taking on my body, I mean, it's wasting so many groceries. I mean, vegetables just sitting there going bad and things like that. So that was one of the biggest things that I've done. I think is over the last month, I've not gotten perfect with it, but I've gotten a heck of a lot better with my eating, and meals and even snacking. Instead of sitting there eating, candy and junk, I've eaten, maybe nuts, maybe some pistachios, things like that.
Small tweak, small change.
Yeah.
Big
Occasional
result.
gummy bear.
Hey, 80-20. We just
80-20.
recorded a podcast. Sean and I just recorded a different episode, and we just talked about that. Like, funny, don't 100% cold turkey. It's not a good plan. Almost never works. I don't know anybody where it's worked, but just eat well most of the time, and get to enjoy a little bit, and that actually improves over time as well. That little bit you have actually gets less and less as you go, and it becomes your new habit, So, man, that's so cool to hear. Both you guys, man, that's so cool. Yeah, love it.
Donald, I want to mention, we kind of talked about this the other day. We had talked about like the different priorities in life, right? So if you're listening to this, if you reflect on your own life, what are your priorities, right? Where does that line up? And most people are like, oh, I don't know. Where do you spend most of your time, energy, and effort? Where your focus goes, energy flows. And that might be finances, might be spirituality. that might be friends and family. And typically you're excelling in that area. And I know for Donald and Christian, and, both of y'all have your different priorities. And before, you went through and the mini course and some of the things that we're talking about, the limiting beliefs, the self-doubts, staring it down, go slow to go fast. It's allowed you to be more mindful and intentional about these other areas. Like, oh man, and Donald, we talked about this a lot. Like, I asked you what were your priorities were, and you said number 1 was God, number 2 was family, number 3 was finances, and number 4 was what? Health. And so by going through this, I know you have been working hard behind the scenes because now you can pull that back up. But more importantly is, what did I ask you? What is your why? Because you have to tie that emotional, compelling nature behind anything that you want to level up and live in, because it's just not sustainable if you don't tie that why behind it. You can have the how and the what, but what is one of the things, remember what we talked about at Salada, that I helped you and guided you with talking about? Your number 1 priority was God, spirituality, and you are a godly man, right? You do the things, you live by God's word, and you're imperfect, you're a sinner just like we all are. However, remember what you had told me, and when I had asked you, hey, what's your why? And do you remember what you told me? I remember. About okay, I remember. Because Donald, God is your number 1, and I said, okay, well, what's your why? And you referenced the Bible, right? Well, and you know this better than any of us. What does God tell us to do with our body and our temple?
Yeah,
right.
To take care of it.
To take care of it. So attaching that why, because that is so powerful to you about living true to his word and his integrity and aligned with that. So now you can reference that and make that a part of your why in building and staring this down and doing the things that you're working on behind the scenes to bring that health up, right? Right. And the same thing with you, Christian, on the finances and some of these other areas. Like, you're attaching a why behind the finances. Why is the finances important to you? And I know the answer to that, right? I wanted you to just kind of spend a minute or two on that, like on your why, like why that's so important to you, and then how you're, with this, some of the things that you're working on, what we've been talking about in the mini course, is that has allowed you to go slow, to go fast, and the things that you have put in the work these last several months, that's allowing you to bring the baseline of all these different areas of life up. Right? Because you know that if you just focus on the finances, cool, you're going to get to where you want to go, right? But you're leaving behind all this other stuff and you're not pulling it with you. You're not moving that baseline.
Yeah, 100%. The biggest thing is the why. And I just don't, you can't say it enough, because and that's what I've discovered. Because I mean, honestly, I'm the guy, I'm still in the trenches, I have not yet made it to where I want to go. I'm still on this journey.
And that's all of us, brother. That just not you. It's all of us,
That's true.
We're all together. We'll never make it to where we want to go. It's just journey together.
Absolutely. But you have to have an emotional, compelling reason to do what it is that you're trying to do, or else something else will take priority of it. There will always be some kind of excuse or justification for not doing whatever that is. It's so easy for your mind to give you the day off. That's all right. We'll get back at it tomorrow. It's all good. So there has to be a very powerful emotional reason as to why you're doing something. So for me, it's I no longer want to live paycheck to paycheck. I no longer want to tell my kids that, no, I'm sorry, I cannot buy you that Christmas gift right now. Sorry, we can't go out to eat tonight. I'm sick of all of that stuff. So for me, the most powerful reason is I want to be the best provider for myself and my family that I can be. And in order to do that, I need to improve multiple areas of my life. So that's my health, my wellness. That's my relationship with God, my relationship with my wife. And these are all things that are incredibly important. And if you can work on one of them, you cannot tackle all of these. I can't stress enough how, if you just think about all the things you need to improve, it's very overwhelming. You have got to take one step at a time, and give yourself some gratitude and some grace along the way. And then you can move on to the next.
Man,
Um,
I really heard enough was enough for
yeah,
you. That was like, you're 39, you're saying that, and you're still a young guy, and I could just hear it, seeing the video, and just I could hear that why. And I felt that too a long time ago. I was like, man, no more. I've been doing this over and over, and you continue to do it over and over, and it's madness, and then it just hits. No more. Enough is enough. And you got that, and what a gift. A lot of people could see that as, I hate where I am right now, but man, if you could really just be aware of that moment, that situation, it's your friend. That feeling, that why, that emotion, it really sets you up for where you're going to go next, where you actually want to go. And like you said, you got to have that why. So it was really a gift, that moment, and so people listening to this, if you don't have the results that you want, even though you didn't ask for them, right? How can you not tie that then to go try and do something different, right? Enough is enough. And to tell you what, people are going to continue to do it until that moment.
yeah.
And if you could speed that up somehow, man, enough is enough,
And a good mentor and someone that has been through that is crucial. So,
Yeah.
if you're listening to a great podcast like this one or another one, you're reading some good books, but you have got to reach out to somebody or a group of folks that are in the same boat for some guidance. Mentorship is crucial. It gives you that different perspective. Gives you, and it helps push you. And it really, for me, it's helped me ask myself some really tough questions and come up with some really tough answers. So, and just if you're just trying to do something like this solo, you're not going to come up with some of these questions,
So true, man. So you guys had said kind of what your expectations were doing this, and have the expectations been met? And you guys definitely are a work in progress. But man, we're already seeing in a short period of time, you guys are moving the needle in your life. You can see you've got purpose, you got vision, your tunnel vision. You're focused on that thing right now. You're not out here just looking around, doing what you were doing before. Things have changed by you focusing in on this. So the expectations, they're being met. Anything you didn't expect? What didn't you expect that showed up? Was there anything that surprised you at all?
I think one of the I was surprised by the process. Writing isn't my strong suit. I can't, more times than not, I can't read my own handwriting. So journaling and things like that aren't big for me. But there's enjoyment in that. So finding that enjoyment in that kind of surprised me. That was unexpected. It's unexpected. To kind of stare it down, like, man, what's some things that are maybe what's being a time thief in my life? What's being a distraction? What's stealing my energy? Just kind of staring those things down was a big thing that I didn't expect that popped up. It's like, oh man, like, maybe I'm spending more time doing this than I expected, or I'm spending more time doing that, or you know what? Hey, I've been doing this and getting a little bit of joy from it, but man, that's sucking so much energy out of me. I don't have time to do numbers 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on my list.
Wow.
And Sean says it all the time: where focus goes, energy flows. So where am I focusing on? Where am I focusing my time and energy on? And where's that going? Because without visualizing that, without seeing that, that's where you pick your head up and you're like, oh, another week's gone by. Oh, another month's gone by. Oh man, 2023 is almost done.
You literally can focus on nothing. Like what you can focus on the thing you want. And if you don't, you're always focusing on something. You're focusing on the thing you want. If you're not doing that, you are focusing on nothing. And then that's when the weeks and months and years go by. You've been focusing on nothing. Which one you focus on. You're focusing somewhere, and to hear you say that, man, it's beautiful. It's really cool. Really cool. Christian, what about you?
I think for me, the thing I did not expect was there were a few things, in there that made me really think how, and they may be small things, small habits. So for me, it was looking at the structure of my day and the things that I'm doing on a regular basis. How long have I been doing those things, and why? Like where did they come from? Like why? And how do they impact me the next day? So for me, it was small things like maybe staying up a little bit later than normal because I'm watching some YouTube or watching some Netflix, instead of getting, the proper amount of rest, or maybe doing some reading or some meditation or something that would benefit me. It's little things like that when you really analyze your life and then think about how it impacts you the next day. Like that hour of sleep that I robbed myself on, did that impact my conversation in the morning with my wife? Or did it impact that first sales call that I had the next morning because I didn't get the full rest? It's just little things like that may not seem like a lot because maybe they're just rooted in your lifestyle for so long that you don't even think about it. That's what surprised me, is to really take a deep dive into your life about what is going on, why I'm doing them, and is there some change that I can make that would benefit me, in the long run there. So that was huge for me.
That's awesome. Very cool to hear.
Yeah, a big one for me. I'll share mine real quick. Can I share mine, guys? I got my hand up over here.
Of course.
Okay. Yes. So I heard this on a podcast before, and I wanted to share this. I thought this was appropriate because if somebody hears this and you're listening to this, man, I hope you take away what I took away, because it's really impacted me over, in my transformation and health journey. So on the podcast, I heard this guy say, yeah, I would eat a burger, or I'd stop at Taco Bell or Raising Cane's. We've talked about all that on our episode we talked about this morning, me and you, and that's our like guilty pleasure, cane sauce, canes. It would be good. It would be enjoyable in the moment. You have to really listen to the episodes coming out next week, but I would eat the canes, and then afterwards, I would feel a certain way. And then I started noticing, I'm like, wait a minute, why am I feeling fatigued and lethargic? And then I started noticing, like, even in this mini course, like us putting our experience and our time, energy, and effort into this course, I wish I would have had this back then, right? Because it allowed me to stare it down and go, how I'm showing up around my friends and family, in my relationship, my wife, my mood, my behavior, my attitude is changing because of the food that I'm putting in my body.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like an aha moment to me. I'm like, and never in the history of just self-reflection of what I've ever thought about looking or staring this down, unless you take the time, take the energy to go slow, take a pen and paper or whatever you have to do to go, how is my mood when I do this? How is my behavior when I do this? Is it moving the needle? Is it progressing you in the different areas of life and how you show up, or is it hurting you? And for me, it was hurting me. So I take that the way that makes me feel, and I talk about it internally. Hey, if you eat this cane, Sean, if you eat this fried food, this is going to be a spiral down of how you're going to show up for your wife, for my kid, for my dogs, for my friends, for my employees, whatever it may be. And I'm still imperfect to this day, but man, let me tell you something. Now it's so much more, for me, it's so much more like refreshing knowing that I have a choice to make. And in that choice, if I choose, I'm not going to beat myself up. And I'm going to give you all a secret. Y'all ready for this? Who's listening?
I'm in.
Okay. Here's my secret. So normally what I'll do is, if I know I don't have something the next day, like if I Kendra's busy and I'm just going to be kind of like by myself the next day, but I really want that canes, and I'm applying the 80-20 rule and I've done all the things right, but I really want it right. I'll eat something similar. I'll eat that canes, but I know that I'm just going to like seclude myself in a closet the next day so I don't have to be around anybody, because I know my mood and behavior is going to change. Something's going to, you know what I mean? Y'all feeling me? I can't with this. The mood and behavior changes. That is the ingredients they put in this crap is like cocaine, right? They put this bad stuff in there and it just jacks us all up. And Kristen said it best: when you have a lack of sleep, when you drink alcohol, it's good in the moment, but man, when you get done with it, if you don't stare it down and do the things that we're talking about and go slow to go fast, you're just existing. You're just going through life with like a rat race, like Donald said. You just pick your head up. You're the 9 to 5. You're Monday through Friday, and you go, damn, I'm 60 years of age. What have I done with my life?
100%.
Stop existing, start living. Let's go.
Let's go. Man, that's true words. That's everything right there. Controlling what you know about yourself by reflecting, taking time, writing stuff down, knowing how you respond to things. Do you want that response? Is this what you want in your life? You know it's going to happen. We're all adults. You're mature. You're human. You are not kids anymore. You got to pull your pants up and say, if I do this, I get X. Do you want X to be good or bad? And that's on you. And every result you have in your life is directly on you. No one else is making you do it. Right. Hear that. That's, yeah, I resonate with everything right there, man. I love that. Boom. Well, guys, man, that was really, we really appreciate you taking the time to put this in there. You know, we could probably talk another hour or two about everything that went into that. And we're just really grateful for you guys being vulnerable, opening up. And man, you've helped a lot of people. A lot of people need this. They need to hear your experience so that they can resonate with it and do something themselves too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us on. It's refreshing to talk about it. I think a lot of guys are not willing to do that. But
Great.
Man, just find someone to talk about it with, and it really opens some doors.
Yeah, we've been trained as a society to, like I said, not talk about it or to hold it in, or if I talk about this, I'm not tough, or it shows I'm breaking. Like, well, guess what? It's okay to break. Sometimes you've got to break to push past that level, to level up and live. You have to break past those barriers.
Yeah, that's true. That's how you build muscle, right? Break it down, build it back better.
Yep.
That if you're so tough, how tough can you be if you can't even express your emotions? That you got to be really tough. Think about how a tough guy cannot stare down showing his weaknesses. That's pretty weak, in my opinion. Right?
Oh, yeah.
I can't show any weakness. I'm going to look a fool. And then you stay small. That's small thinking because you're worried about what other people think, as opposed to, man, we are communicators as human beings. We talk and we get better when we talk and we can elevate each other. That's a real man, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Those suppressed emotions will come out in some way or form, you know. So
yeah. I was the guy that just was like worksheet, course, all that. Like, nope, I'm good. I'll just stay in my lane. I'll continue to do what I'm doing. And now it's like, man, I think honestly, God works in mysterious ways. And that's why I'm a big believer in, it's like, whether you hear the message now or whether you hear it in 10 years from now, you're going to come back to this. You're going to come back and you're going to go, damn, I wish I would have done something about this 10 years ago. And that was me. I'm 36 years of age. And if somebody would have been in my ear, in front of my face, on a billboard, just constantly beating this down on what we're talking about, I would have eventually got it, I think. I'm just super grateful that I got it at this age. I'm super grateful everybody on this podcast and episode is if you're listening to this, I know that you want to level up in your own area of life, and everything that has been brought to your attention today has been pure gold. If you want to level up and live, man, this to me is the way to do it, right? And yeah.
The free mini course, it's in the show notes. You can download it. It's not complex, but it's not easy to stare things down and look at some things that you don't want to look at. But if you don't, it just gets worse. Guaranteed, it just gets worse. Nothing stays the same. It will either get worse or get better, and that's conscious decision. So, yeah, feel free, go to the notes, download it, and we'd love for you guys to experience it. We'd love to hear y'all's feedback on it as well. Once you go through it, we'd love to hear success stories, all the good things. We'd love to hear that from the audience.
Christian, Donald, thanks again for your time, energy, and effort, guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Forget. Oh, you know what? Ewan, I forgot to ask. You didn't remind me. I got to put it on here.
What's that?
Man, hold on. If you're listening to this, you got to listen. Keep listening. Donald.
Yep.
What does level up and live mean to you?
What does level up and live mean to me? It means to look at myself, stare it down, say, hey, this is where I want to be. This is how I'm going to get there, and I'm not going to stop.
Beautiful. Christian, what does level up and live mean to you, brother?
Level up and live means to take a hard look at your life and understand that where you're at is a direct result of the actions that you have taken throughout your entire life. If you're not happy with that, then what actions do you need to take to level up and get to where you want to be? That's what it means. That awareness of that is leveling up and living.
Beautifully said, guys. Thank you so much. Y'all have a fantastic day.
Yeah.
You too. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
And there you have it. Another incredible episode of Level Up and Live. A huge thank you to our phenomenal guests, Christian and Donald, for sharing their wisdom and inspiring us to take our lives to the next level. And a special shout out to our listeners. Thank you for joining us on this journey of growth and transformation. Don't forget to check out our free mini course inspired by the amazing insights from today's guest located in the show notes. If you've enjoyed today's podcast, we have a huge favor to ask. We normally don't spend a lot of time on asking for reviews, but as at this time, we don't do marketing, we don't do advertising, paid anyways, but this is what allows us to grow and impact more people just like you. So if you could, please be sure to leave us a review, subscribe, and share with someone who needs to hear this message. It would be greatly appreciated. So until next time, keep leveling up, keep living, and remember, your best life is just around the corner.